Hi, Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Risings. I hope that you're all well today. Thank you for joining me here for those of you who are live. And if you're watching it on the replay, that's fine too. My name is Cailin, and today I'm going to be covering the major transits for the month ahead using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. I strongly recommend that you watch your horoscope for your sun, moon, and rising sign. If you are only going to watch one, I would suggest that you stick to your rising sign, which is also known as your ascendant sign, because it is the most accurate overall. Having said that, the sun sign horoscope will tell you more about your career and your life goals, whereas you moon in Taurus people will find that this horoscope pertains more to your living circumstances, your family life, and also your relationships and your emotional health and well-being. So let's get into it. On the 2nd of July, Mars in Aries in your 12th house is going to make a square to Pluto in Capricorn in your 9th house at 27 degrees. So this particular square will be following on from something which occurred in early March. And I'm saying that because on the 3rd of March, Mars and Pluto formed a conjunction at 27 degrees in Capricorn. So this is the opening square. Essentially, the 12th house represents self-sabotaging behaviors as well as fears and addictions. So this particular square can see you having some sort of revelation, which could be quite unpleasant in nature, or it could be quite jarring. So maybe, you could even have a dream in which you understand certain things that you have been doing, which is basically you getting in your own way. Now, because Pluto is in Capricorn in your 9th house, this self sabotaging behavior could relate to travel matters, going on some sort of journey or your international travel plans. Perhaps this is to do with education, whether this is you receiving a higher education or you teaching in some way. The 9th house also represents your belief systems as well as how you perceive the future. The 9th house is very much connected to good luck and our sense of optimism and our ability to be positive about our own future. So, because Mars rules over your 7th house, which represents your one on one relationships, and it also rules over your 12th house, which represents hidden enemies, as well as, like I said earlier, self sabotaging behaviors. This can see you understanding the ways in which you may have been blaming other people for things that they perhaps don't deserve to be blamed for. And again, this could be manifesting as you sort of getting in your own way and then projecting this onto another person and saying, it's your fault that I didn't have this education opportunity, or you're the reason that I don't have the freedom to do what I want or travel when I want to travel. However, the shoe can be on the other foot. So this can see you having some sort of revelation about someone who you thought was a friend who turns out to be working against you. So Pluto represents secrets, and the 12th house also represents that which is hidden. So you could discover that there is someone who is potentially jealous of you. They could be jealous of your education prospects or your travel prospects. They could even just be jealous of your status in life, because the 9th house represents our ability to be influential and be respected by other people. Now, on a different level, this can see you basically understanding that there is someone who is getting in the way of your ability to go on a trip or to take some sort of journey or go on an adventure. I certainly don't want to freak you guys out though, because Mars square Pluto aspects occur every year, and they essentially allow us to fight back. They allow us to reclaim our power over people or forces that have been dominating us or trying to control us. So, there's no need to be freaked out. I myself am a Taurus sun, and I'm just looking at this being like, I wonder what kind of mental breakthrough I'm going to have, or I wonder what kind of epiphany I am going to have. And this can certainly see you breaking out of some sort of um, trance that you've been under, in feeling like there's a ceiling on top of you, that you can't have all the opportunities that you want to have, or you can't travel to all the places that you want to have, or that you will never be recognized the way that you want to be recognized. And lastly, with this transit, the ninth house represents publishing. So for some of you, you could have been self sabotaging when it comes to writing a book or getting it published. And so you can have a breakthrough in that respect. And of course, it would be remiss of me not to mention that you can get to the root cause of an addiction or of a fear. And some of you may have been projecting this onto another person. So you could have been blaming another person for a certain addiction that you have or a vice that you have. And this can essentially see you discovering that the root cause lies within you, and people can't make you feel a certain way. You can only give what you already have. No one can make you angry. Okay, you either have anger, which gets triggered, or you don't. So, whatever is coming out of you around this time, just know that it's not someone else's fault. This needs to be expunged or exposed or purged in some way. So, it could be an emotionally charged time of the month. Nevertheless, just a few days later, on the 3rd of July, Mars is going to enter the sign of Taurus, which means it will be in your first house. So, this is such a great time for physical transformations, especially if you're looking to transform your appearance or lose weight. Mars is connected to muscles. Mars also rules over physical activity and sport. So, this would be a good time to hit the gym, do some more exercises. You'll probably have a lot more energy than normal that you need to burn off. So, this can see you basically being extremely motivated and driven to change your appearance and become more fit and active to the best of your ability. Of course, not everyone has the same level of mobility. In a different sense, this can see you having higher levels of ambition and drive. So you may be willing to be bold and to be courageous and to take risks. This can see you being more assertive with respect to how this affects your persona. This can see you coming off a little more confrontational, a little more aggressive, but you can channel this energy into ambition and assertiveness. But I certainly would warn against allowing yourself to be so triggered by other people. And I'm saying that because Mars rules over your seventh house, which represents your one on one relationships. So this can see you getting into arguments or disagreements with friends, your significant other, or literally just anyone. So just be mindful of the fact that tensions can certainly be running high for this period of time, which is about 6 weeks. It will last from the 5th of July until the 20th of August. Now, lastly, Mars is a planet which is connected to sex, and it rules over your seventh house, as I mentioned before, which represents these one-on-one connections and relationships. So this can see you pursuing another person, asking someone out, being more bold, being more courageous. It's 111 right now on the clock. So if there is a hottie that you're wanting to ask out on a date, or if you just want to put yourself out there, I would say go for it. So on the 13th of July, Venus in Gemini in your second house is going to make a trine to Saturn in Aquarius in your 10th house. So, trines are what we like to see in astrology because they represent some sort of flowing, harmonious, beneficial energy. And they carry the energy of Jupiter, which means that you can receive some sort of blessing around this particular point in time. Now, with your second house representing finances and money, as well as resources and possessions and valuables, this can see you experiencing some sort of security with respect to your income. And I'm saying that because Saturn represents the solidifying of something, or, making something concrete and essentially laying a foundation. So because the 10th house represents your career, this could see you moving from, let's say, a casual position to something which affords you more security or benefits. So maybe if you are a freelancer or you're doing contract work, or you just, get called up out of nowhere, maybe you're a substitute teacher, and now you can be offered a full-time role or a part-time role. Or even if you're not changing the nature of your contracts, you could be offered some sort of benefits with respect to resources or valuables. So maybe you're being offered shares in the company, or perhaps you are being told that you can receive time off for holidays or sick leave or annual leave or something of that nature. Now, the 10th house, like I said, represents your career. So for some of you, you could be becoming employed. You could receive a promotion or an elevation in terms of your position or your title in the workplace. And for some of you, this could see you receiving a contract which leads to an increase in your pay, or perhaps, if you have been unemployed or work has just been, very inconsistent, there can be some more consistency here, which in some way, shape, or form stabilizes your income. Now, the 10th house does not just represent our career, this also represents our highest worldly responsibilities, achievements, and also positions of leadership. So, for some of you, this may not be connected to career, especially if, you may be retired or unable to work for some reason. Essentially, though, this transit can see you having your values be reflected very well in your public image. So maybe you upholding certain values leads to some sort of recognition, or maybe just garnering more respect in terms of your position and your status in society. Now, on the 17th/18th of July, depending where you live in the world, Venus is going to enter the sign of Cancer. Also, because you are ruled by the planet Venus, you will always be impacted more so than the other signs, except for Libra, which is also ruled by Venus, by transits which involve Venus. So that goes for the previous transit with Venus trining Saturn. And of course, whichever sign Venus is transiting, this is what you are doing. This is where you are placing your focus. And this is certainly where you are going to be experiencing these themes or focused on these things. So, with the Venus in your third house, this can indicate that you are spending more time with siblings, relatives, maybe even neighbors, friends, or co workers. You can be enjoying time with them. They could actually be helping you out in some way, shape, or form, or there could just be opportunities for you to socialize with these people. So, Venus will basically lead to some sort of blessing or just enjoyment or a flow or ease of life in that department. So if you have been experiencing difficulties or some sort of discord with a sibling, a relative, your neighbors, or a friend or a coworker, this can see you um, achieving some sort of truce because Venus rules over peace and truces, or perhaps, someone that you weren't really getting along with can end up being your friend. Now, this could see you making new friends, new acquaintances. Perhaps you're meeting new people in the workplace. Maybe you are being introduced or introducing yourself to your neighbors, or perhaps you are forming friendships with your neighbors, especially if you didn't really have much to do with them before. And also, the third house rules over teams and small groups of people. So you could be forming some kind of group. Maybe you're forming a book club. Maybe you and a group of friends are going to be learning something together or going on some sort of short trip. The third house rules over short trips and short journeys. So you could be going on some sort of excursion or experiencing like a little getaway trip, and this could be something which is very enjoyable for you. So Venus will be in Cancer from the about the 17th/18th of July until the 11th of August. Now, lastly, with Venus in your third house, this can see you creating something new with respect to communications. You could be writing a book, you could be developing a new app or a website or creating a new social media platform. And because Venus is you and what you're doing, this indicates that you could actually be really enjoying the creative process. Or maybe you're just going through, like a 3-week period of feeling extra creative. Now, this can see you, for those of you who work in sales, basically having a lot of success in business. This could be a very busy time. You could be doing a lot of deals, making a lot of sales. And lastly, the third house represents education. So this could see you going on some sort of, or doing some sort of new education course, a new short course. You could just be enjoying learning. You could read a new book, which you take a lot of pleasure in, or maybe you just have time to actually read, especially if you have very busy lives and you don't normally get time to read or just do courses in general. Now, on the 28th/29th of July, depending where you live in the world, Jupiter is going to station retrograde in the sign of Aries at 8 degrees in your 12th house. So Jupiter entered Aries on the 10th of May. So, whatever you've initiated between the 10th of May and the end of July, this is where you can now be placing your focus on those things. So, this could see you integrating something that you've learned. You could be working to bring some sort of vision that you had to life. And when Jupiter is retrograde, well, when any planet is retrograde, we have to basically um, use a lot more effort to reap the rewards of that planet. So, Saturn retrograde is where we're doing a lot of hard work, which can be unpleasant and tedious. But Jupiter retrograde can see you rereading books, going back over materials or courses. It could see you basically fine tuning your plans for the future. And this could be with respect to a trip to a faraway land or place. So you could be planning to go with friends, especially because Jupiter rules over the 11th house. You could be planning to attend some sort of conference or retreat, or you could be planning an event which is centered around spirituality. It could be something to do with art, or perhaps it is something of a spiritual nature. So basically, the 12th house rules over spirituality, divination, your spiritual team, and the other side. The 12th house is connected to yoga and meditation. As I mentioned earlier, it is connected to trips to faraway lands and places. And by the way, when I say that, I mean like culture shock countries. This isn't just the border between the US and Canada. I'm talking like, you know, Australia to Europe, just as an example. So, on a different level, the 12th house rules over any kind of secluded environment. So, this could be an art studio, a laboratory, this could be um, like a day spa or something where you go into a contained area which is very secluded from the outside world. So maybe you had an idea for some sort of long term goal or project that you want to execute, as indicated by Jupiter ruling over the 11th house. And now you need to sort of like bunker down and work in your studio or work in a laboratory, especially because Jupiter rules over the 8th house, which is connected to deep research. So you could be integrating this new knowledge that you have or testing your theories and testing your knowledge. In terms of the time frame, Jupiter will be retrograde until the 23rd of November, and it is also going to re-enter the sign of Pisces. So it will be back in Aries on the 20th of December. So this is where phase 2 really kicks in, or the second chapter, or the second act, whatever you want to call it. So this is when all of the work that you've been doing in looking backwards, fine-tuning your plans, um, and making them more realistic can be put into practice, and things can start moving in a more fluid way with less sort of hiccups. Now lastly, for the month, on the 31st of July, we are going to see the Uranus North Node and Mars conjunction in Taurus in your first house. This is the most pivotal transit for the year for you as Taurians. It's a big statement, but I'm standing by it. As you know, I'm a Taurus sun, so honestly, this is the transit that you want to pay the most attention to for the year. Now, first of all, Uranus and the North Node will be conjunct at 18 degrees in Taurus, and Mars will be at 17 degrees. So it's still worth considering the activity of Mars and how it's going to influence you, because it is so closely involved in this conjunction. Conjunctions between Uranus and the North Node only happen once every 15 or 16 years. So this is not your everyday transit. And essentially, when we have conjunctions which occur so many years apart, they really indicate a new chapter beginning. So I'm going to go through a few different ways that this can impact you, but essentially what I want you to remember is that the first house rules over your physical appearance. It rules over your body. It rules over your persona. It rules over your path in life and the approach that you take in your life. And also, with Mars ruling over your 7th house, which represents your one on one relationships, this transit is also going to impact your relationships as well. Now, let's start with your physical appearance in the body. The North Node can represent something which is enhanced, artificial, experimental. The North Node is also connected to very desirous and sexual energy. And Uranus rules over things which are unexpected, shocking, controversial, and it also carries this experimental energy as well. So, with the combination of Uranus, the North Node, and to an extent Mars, this can see many Taurians, and I would say more so Taurus, Taurus ascendants and suns to an extent, not so much moons, looking at enhancing their appearance. And this could be done in an artificial manner. So this could be getting lip fillers, this could be Botox, Mars rules over needles. So this is also connected to injectables. Now, the moon rules over breasts. So, sure, if you have your moon in Taurus, maybe you're getting a boob job. And on a different level, this can see you experimenting with how you present. Maybe you're going to start dressing differently. Maybe there'll be some sort of remarkable change in your appearance. Maybe you're going to be getting a crazy haircut or just doing your makeup in a way which is like super different and, quite sort of a departure from how you normally do your makeup. As I'm saying this now, I'm just sort of laughing to myself because as a Taurus sun, I'm not a very experimental person when it comes to my appearance, but I can see for me personally how the end of July, when this conjunction is going to take place, I've got, plans to get my Invisalign retainers removed. So, you will be focused on your appearance, even if you're not getting surgery to do so. This can see you um, needing an unexpected surgery, though. And I don't want to freak you guys out. This is a general reading. You really want to um, just take this as it applies to you. This is not a personal reading, so not all of this is going to resonate, but nevertheless, this can see you needing to have a surgery, which is unplanned. Maybe you are on a waiting list and you suddenly get called up to have a surgery, and this could be quite inconvenient in terms of the timing. Um, I just want to say, and again, remember this is a general reading, I wouldn't plan to have your surgery around this time. But if you need one unexpectedly, then that's a different story. Now, with respect to your persona, this can see you coming across as more magnetic, more attractive, more desirable, more sexual, and also your appetite for sexual experiences may increase. The North Node has a very insatiable energy, and Mars also carries a very sexual energy. So this can see you having some kind of fling, by the way, on the relationship front. This could see you either entering into a romantic relationship or exiting one. Um, the common denominator here, though, is that it would be abrupt or unpredictable. Now, this could see you, just getting into a relationship and you're like, wow, I really wasn't planning to settle down or get into something which is committed or long term. Or this can see you suddenly wanting to break out or break free from this. Now, because all of these, because this conjunction is taking place in the first house, I just want to put your mind at ease to let you know that I see this as being your decision, not their decision. So it could be that you were taking someone else by surprise. And the seventh house also represents business relationships and contracts. So I'm mentioning the seventh house because Mars rules over your seventh house, and Uranus rules over your 10th house, which represents your public status and your career and your public image in general. So this could see you doing something with respect to a contract or a relationship which takes other people by surprise, or which affects your status in a very abrupt and unpredictable way. Now, this can see you having a sudden download of information when it comes to your plans for the future. What do you want to do? Maybe you're rebelling against restrictions. Maybe you're rebelling against limitations. Maybe you're taking an enormous risk in what you are doing with respect to your career, how you present yourself, how you introduce yourself. And some of you may even have a sudden rise in status. So this could see something that you've put out there going viral, whether that's on YouTube or TikTok, or a something that you've done for work gaining a lot of attention, if you will. And this could lead to a sense of imposter syndrome as well. So essentially, the energy surrounding this Uranus North Node and Mars conjunction on the 31st of July, it just has this like unpredictable anything can happen, sort of excitable energy. So it is an excitable time. It is a good time to take risks in your life. It is a good time to take risks in your career. And also, if you have something that you want to launch out into the world, whether this is, the debut of your YouTube channel or a song that you've written or something of that nature, doing it around the end of July, if not on the 31st of July, can see you hitting the ground running and really making a big impact. And so, Taurus, that's all I have for you for July 2022. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Enjoy your month ahead, Taurus, and I will see you in August.